Nearly 73,000 turn out for the 23rd Orange Bowl game.
50 years ago, when Clemson played Colorado, the Confederate flag took center stage at halftime. Even today, the flag remains a symbol of South Carolina's history.
The Confederate flag is a symbol representing the soldiers of the Confederate States of America and the dedication and sacrifices that they made.
Randy Burbage says the flag represents a connection to the legacy of the fallen soldiers.
This is Alexander Burbage, nephew of my great-great-grandfather. Sacrificed his life at 19 years of age over on James Island.
There were Americans that fought under this flag. That's what everybody seems to forget.
President.
But in 2000, when the South Carolina legislature succumbed to mounting pressure and removed the Confederate flag from the Capitol's dome, its supporters were outraged.
I'm black, I'm a Confederate American, I'm Southern by the grace of God.
It was not a happy moment for us the day that the flag came down and was moved.
Senator Glenn McConnell helped orchestrate the landmark compromise.
It was the start of a new beginning for us.
The compromise was to have this solitary 51-inch flag fly alongside a soldier's monument on state capitol grounds.
It gave us an opportunity to put the flag in a context where we hoped it would be celebrated and celebrated in the right way and would not be the source of all this controversy.
However, the smaller flag was similar to the one that flew atop the dome, a flag that has been used by the Ku Klux Klan.
The fact that you make it smaller, what do you think would be most significant? A 3-foot swastika or a 2-foot swastika? Would the meaning of it change? Would it change?
Lonnie Randolph is the president of the South Carolina chapter of the NAACP, the organization that initiated a tourism boycott of South Carolina in 2001, which continues today. The NCAA soon took a stand as well.
The flag symbolized racism. The flag symbolized a time where human beings were sold, men, women, and children, as property, and that imagery would have an adverse impact on the environment.
The NCAA announced it would not choose South Carolina as a host site for any of its championship games. Its stance has hurt the local economy. Facilities like the Bilo Center in Greenville, which once successfully hosted NCAA postseason events, now hosts motorcycle races during that time.
How much money did the NCAA tournament, when it was here in 2002, how much money did that pump into the local economy?
Well, the estimates from the Convention Bureau were somewhere in the neighborhood of over $5 million.
The financial toll on the state may only get worse. Later this month, an NCAA subcommittee may recommend to expand the organization's current ban on championships to include all postseason events in the state, even if a South Carolina school has earned the right to host a postseason game.
We don't think any postseason event should be held with the backdrop of the Confederate flag.
Floyd Keith is the executive director of the Black Coaches Association. Keith says when he realized that Clemson's number 2 ranked baseball team hosted the first 2 rounds of last year's regionals, he saw a loophole in the policy and asked the NCAA to be consistent and expand its ban to all South Carolina venues.
How is a black student athlete compromised by a flag that's flying in Columbia, South Carolina?
Well, you know, in some respects, if you grow up in that area, I guess you become accustomed to that. You walk by it every day and you accept it. Well, I don't think that you need to accept that. Sometimes you don't know any different.
They just need to put themselves in our shoes and understand what kind of environment we have. And the only way that they can do that is actually come here.
Terry Don Phillips is Clemson's athletic director. He says when he found out the ban might be extended, he met with South Carolina officials to see if there could be a remedy to the flag controversy. There was, however, no resolution.
Anytime you have something that wedges in there that may call into question, particularly when it comes to race relations, that young people, whether it be student athletes or students in general, they'll say, well, maybe that's not a place I want to go.
Meanwhile, the NAACP has joined the Black Coaches Association in its effort to extend the ban, no matter how it affects the state's student athletes.
They need to be more than just athletes. They also need to be advocates for justice and advocates for what's right.
Here at South Carolina State, a historically black college, school officials declined to comment on camera. One administrator who asked not to be identified said the issue is a political hot potato, and a response could affect state funding should the school appear to side with the NAACP.
It just goes to show you how sensitive and how volatile race still is 230 years after the Declaration was signed.
At the Magnolia Cemetery in Charleston, there are graves of more than 1,700 known and unknown Confederate soldiers. Randy Burbidge is the commander of the South Carolina Division of the Sons of the Confederate Veterans, an organization dedicated to preserving the memory of the Confederate soldiers.
If America's going to be a truly multicultural country, we need to accept the history and heritage of everybody. And it doesn't seem that some groups want to accept our history as something that we value.
Does the history and heritage to you outweigh the potential offensiveness to others?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. I think they're being ultra-sensitive.
When Burbidge heard about the NCAA's potential extension of the ban, the Sons of the Confederate Veterans mobilized, distributing stickers at football games and creating a website dedicated to rallying its 35,000 national members to sign a petition and write letters to the NCAA. But even if the NCAA decides to extend its ban, Senator Glenn McConnell says the flag issue in South Carolina has been settled once and for all.
What effect will it have on the legislature in moving the flag? None. The flag will not be moved.
Why isn't the monument enough to honor the memory of those soldiers? Why do you also have to have the flag?
Because for the Confederate soldier, the flag was their symbol of identity. It was their rallying point. It was the thing that they held on to.
And if it's a symbol to some groups of oppression, why isn't that enough to potentially have you change your mind?
Because that's a slippery slope. You start opening a quarrel with your past, where do you stop? The next crowd wants the Christmas tree down. The next crowd finds one of the other monuments offensive, and we start going back and sanitizing history. That's a slippery slope.